So, Aaron, tell me a little bit about what you do before we get into the big topic of today, which is Britney Spears.
I'm a lawyer by training. I work with a company called Esquire Digital, and we help lawyers grow their businesses. And I write on a lot of topics that have some aspect of society intersect with the law, and absolutely what's going on with Britney and the conservatorship is one of them.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about that. For some of us, I don't quite understand what's going on. We just know the minuscule stuff that we hear in the media.
Sure. I mean, I'll try to wrap it into as good of a package as I can. So, Britney Spears has been under a conservatorship for 13 years, which legally means that she's not entitled to make a lot of her own decisions. The conservator of her conservatorship is her father, Jamie Spears. She also has somebody called the conservator of the person who helps her make, personal decisions like regarding the taking of her medication and things like that. And that's somebody named Jody Montgomery. So she's been, or says at least publicly, that she wants to get out of the conservatorship. She's had some issue with a court-appointed lawyer. Now, as of last week, she has a lawyer that the court has allowed her to hire. And one expects that the next two things that will happen is probably there'll be another attempt to remove her father as conservator, and then she'll eventually try to get out from that conservatorship.
And what would be the biggest challenge of her getting out, other than the fact that obviously her father doesn't want to let her go, so to speak?
From a legal perspective, it's going to be her proving that she's capable of it. I know there's a lot of people who think that anybody who's under a conservatorship who wants to be out of it should be allowed to tend to their own affairs. The nature of conservatorship allows someone to take that, power away from an adult because of fear that they aren't capable of taking care of their own lives. And that was the case 13 years ago when Britney went under a conservatorship and her father became her conservator. What she's going to have to show the court, if she actually does move to have the conservatorship dropped, is that she's able to make her own decisions. That's going to be her challenge moving forward, I think.
And I know this is what I don't understand. How come they didn't check on her like every 6 months or every year to make sure, she was getting better, and maybe perhaps she didn't even need it even 5, 10 years ago?
That's a really good question, Sammy. I mean, it's not really the court's responsibility to check in that someone's going to get better. In a lot of conservatorship cases, there's no illusion that the person is going to get better. Often the reason that people hear about conservatorships is with things like dementia, and these are things that get worse and not get better. Another part of the reason why the court might not have been engaged is because perhaps her legal counsel wasn't doing a great job. And, the conservator, her family, was also keeping things from the court. There's a lot of reasons why it's gone on for 13 years. And the thing is, we don't know because we don't have access to those facts and we don't have access to the conservatorship.
Okay. And what concerned me is the fact that she's claiming abuse from her father and the team behind it, saying that she was forced to take medicine, forced to use the IUD so she couldn't get pregnant, stuff like that. And if this abuse is happening and proving, couldn't she automatically be taken off?
So the last part of the question, no, it's nothing's automatic about it. For the rest of the question, it's really bad, obviously. I mean, even from a legal lens, it's just as bad as from the lens of somebody looking at it and saying, if these things are true, it seems like it's really unfair. And it seems like it's depriving her of the ability as a grown woman to make the decisions that she wants to make in her life. If she's not being allowed to get married, if she has to wear a birth control device against her will. We won't know all the facts of this until her legal counsel makes a motion to have the conservatorship dropped. And then a lot of those things will be raised in court, and what pieces of it we'll end up finding out remains to be seen. But I agree with you that if the things she's alleging really are happening, it's very bad.
And what happens if and when she's taken off? Does that mean she goes back to having her life that she had 13 years ago? Will someone be still watching out for her? What happens then?
If she's no longer a conservatorship, she's free to make, under a conservatorship, she's free to make any decision she wants about her life, how to spend her money. And that might mean theoretically that she ends up spending all the money that's in her estate. But again, there's the point of view, so what? There's a lot of people, you hear these stories every day about somebody wins the lottery in the United States, and the next thing you know, they blow through all their lottery winnings. Well, why shouldn't a celebrity be allowed to do the same thing? One thing that we've got to keep in mind about Britney, and part of the reason why she's so much in the news today, is because she's got a lot of earning potential for the rest of her life moving forward. Imagine if she did a tour, the Free Britney tour, after her conservatorship ended. This is probably $1 billion tour. So even if she's not making the best decisions with the resources that she has in her estate, one can assume that she's got a lot of earning potential for the rest of her life and can probably do okay.
That's what I was thinking too. Now, do you think it would be wise for her to go on tour when this is all over, or should she just take a break from the media?
She's expressed hesitancy about going out on tour, especially if it's something that the conservator is forcing her to do. How she would feel about going out and earning new sets of money if she was entirely on her own, it's entirely her choice. Listen, few celebrities and few performers have worked as hard as Britney Spears has over the year. And I think that even her most ardent fans would probably cut her a little bit of slack if she said, you know what, I'll record every now and then, but I really don't feel like going out on tour for the rest of my life. I think they'd be okay with that. It's really her choice entirely.
Yeah, and in this day and age, especially in the advent of Zoom and what we're doing now, she could just do virtual tours to her liking, like maybe once every 6 months, once a year, just do a tour and then get more people that way.
It makes sense to me. I think that could be a great way to do it. I'm sure that people would pay to see her on Zoom, just like people would pay to see her in their city.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking too. And one thing that worries me though is I don't know if you follow her on social media, but I've been hearing a lot in the grapevine, no pun intended, because my website, that
Yes.
she's been doing a lot of stuff on Instagram and stuff like that that have her fans a little worried as well. People have been saying there's code that it's a cry for help, but also some people are saying there's a possibility there's still something going on with her mind. So I don't want to say anything wrong, but do you think that could hurt her case?
People are hypothesizing about the things she said in court and what she's doing on social media. So we don't even know if she's controlling her own social media accounts. Who knows, right? Um, the good news is legally, once she ends up filing to have the conservatorship removed, if that's what she does, the things that she said in court and things she said on social media probably aren't going to be super relevant. She's going to have to show that she's of sound mind, right? That she's able to make her own decisions. She's already said very, very clearly that she's done with psychological examinations. You've got to respect what she's saying. If she doesn't want to do any more psychological examinations, that's her choice. But the court is absolutely going to look for evidence that she's able to take care of herself. And if what she's saying on social media and in courthouses shows that that's maybe not the case, and she refuses to submit to psychological examinations, she's going to face an uphill battle in getting out of this conservatorship.
Yes. And if you were her legal counsel, what would you advise her to do?
I would have been telling her to keep quiet all along, personally, if I were her legal counsel, because I don't think she gains anything except a great reaction from her fans. But if her fans were able to determine that she should be out of this conservatorship, they would have done so ages ago. It's up to a judge, and I really don't think she's been helping herself by the statements she's been making. So I think I would have counseled her to not talk as much. But of course, for someone who feels that they're already being muzzled, that they're already being not allowed to speak their mind, that's probably advice that wouldn't be very well received.
Gotcha. And anything else you want to add about the case before I let you go?
No, I mean, I just think that it's something that we're going to watch closely. For people who think that, next week the conservatorship is going to be removed, they're disregarding, a couple important things. Number one, they're disregarding how backed up a lot of courts are. Because she's Britney Spears, there's no doubt that things would move faster if she was just somebody else, trying to get out of a conservatorship. The thing is, things don't move super quickly and evidence has to be produced, and both sides are going to try to do so. So I think that this is going to be in the news a lot for the rest of this year, and how quickly it all resolves really depends upon the court and depends upon how quickly she and her lawyer, move to remove the conservatorship.
And would you be willing to come back on next week so we could talk about this some more when we get more news? I think that, you're a fantastic person, Aron, and I would love to hear your opinion as this case goes forward.
Happy to do so. As we get more information, just ping me and I'd love to come back on.
All right. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate you and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks, Sammi.
Thank you. Bye-bye.